Having always admired the work of the Wesley brothers, I decided Methodism would be a desirable denomination to research. Methodism began in England as a revival movement in the early 1700s with John and his brother Charles Wesley. The Wesley brothers founded Methodism as a more Protestant alternative to Anglicanism. Methodism got its name from non-believers who mockingly gave the term to the Methodists because of the way they used rule and method to go about their religious affairs. Methodism became an extremely popular and large denomination in the United States and left many important lasting legacies. First, Methodism contributed significantly to promoting the gospel. Methodists began what was known as circuit riders, or ministers who traveled on horseback across different parts of the United States on circuit routes and preached outdoors or in churches across their paths. Francis Asbury, the first itinerant preacher, alone traveled over 300,000 miles on horseback across America and even into parts of Canada. According to Mark Knoll, his example set the style for his associates to go into every kitchen and shop, address all, aged and young, on the salvation of their souls. Methodist preachers were also active witnesses to Native American Indians, to slaves, and the poor all across America. Methodism was also very active in establishing camp revivals, missionary organizations, and social organizations, thus leaving a significant lasting impact on the lives and souls of countless American people from every class and stage of life. Second, Methodism contributed significantly to a renewed emphasis on personal piety. A core tenet of Wesley's theology was the Christian's responsibility to strive for perfection, or an end to willful sin after conversion. Striving for perfection and living piously for Methodists meant that one's outward behavior should match the inward behavior of the heart. The Wesley brothers' hymns also contributed to this continual emphasis on pietous living for all who embrace the gospel. Knoll again asserts that Methodist piety, even more than Methodist organization, transformed the Christian landscape of early America. Third, Methodism contributed significantly to American church music and hymn collections. And by the 1700s, you still didn't have many hymns or even much singing in churches except the Psalms. Charles and John Wesley permanently changed this by writing the lyrics and music to more than 6,000 hymns. A significant part of Methodism, unusual for its time, was a strong emphasis on music and joyful singing in church and among God's people. Methodism and its music imparted a wonderful legacy of theologically rich, beautiful hymns that have encouraged and edified American Christians for over 200 years and become part of our evangelical heritage. Fourth, Methodism contributed significantly to the abolition of slavery in the United States and in providing religious stability to thousands of slaves and free blacks. Methodism was indeed founded upon a strong anti-slavery heritage. John Wesley, an ardent opponent of slavery and the General Rules of 1743, unconditionally prohibited his followers from owning slaves. Francis Asbury, equally opposed to slavery in 1780, personally introduced and supervised the passage of a statement which called on Methodist preachers to work actively for emancipation. Early in the 1800s, Methodists were in general strong advocates for abolishing slavery and for the salvation of slaves. This moral enthusiasm was greatly diminished by the bishops over the ensuing decades, and in 1844 the Methodists did divide sectionally into North and South over the issue of slavery. Northern Methodist churches and ministers continued to aid in the abolition movement through establishing abolitionist newspapers, societies, and in assisting in the Underground Railroad. By 1834, abolition was well established among Methodist ministers. After the Civil War, Methodism increased greatly among blacks. According to Mark Sidwell, because of this universal approach, meaning Methodist preachers presenting the gospel in a sincere simplicity to every creature, and also because of early Methodism's opposition to slavery, African Americans were drawn to it and flocked to the denomination. Encountering some racial hostility led most blacks to self-segregate from white churches, including Methodists, to form their own independent churches. Because Methodism had profoundly influenced blacks through its many ministers, mission societies, and simple theology, blacks quickly formed their own Methodist denominations. Soon after the establishment of the African Methodist Episcopal and the African Methodist Episcopal Zion, within 10 years, these churches claimed hundreds of thousands of members in the South. In 1870, they were joined by new Southern-based denomination, the colored, now Christian Method Episcopal Church, founded by indigenous Southern black leaders. So through their theology, their promotion and spread of the gospel to all people, their hymn and music contributions, their contributions to abolition, and just from seeing the incredibly large number of Methodist churches still alive and well today, really speaks to the significant lasting impact that the Methodist denomination left on this country and on our American heritage.